everyone, welcome to Green One Day at a Time. Today we'll be talking about Kokedama. Kokedama is a Japanese planting style. It is a ball of soil with some kind of ornamental plant. Today I'll be using Radermachera sinica or China doll plant. It's got beautiful leaf structure and lush growth. This particular plant can be on the wetter side of the soil, so that is why I have chosen China doll plant. I will also need a saucer and some gravel. Typically Kokedamas are hung from the ceiling on a string, but I'm going to place my Kokedama on a saucer with some water in it. Generally, the ball of soil is held together by moss, live moss, but today I'll be using sphagnum moss to tie the ball of soil in place. So in order to tie, again you need some string. So I'm using a general purpose jute based string. Now let's talk about the substrate. Substrate is the ball of soil that holds the plant's root. Here I'm going to use compost, normal compost, and some sharp sand, little bit sharp sand mix into it. You could use peat moss and bonsai soil together, mixed together, or you could use with both mixed with compost. I don't have access to any of these, so I'm going to just wet my compost with a bit of sharp sand and form it into a ball. So in order to form it easily into a ball, wet it really well, just like how I'm doing now, and then squeeze it between your two palms to form a ball. Squeeze tight so the water drips away. There are two methods to make Kokedama. I will show both. So the first method is to form a ball and then split it in half. Once you have the two halves, then you can place your plant in between the two halves and then form it as a ball. But since my ball of soil is smaller than the plant's root, I'll be using the next methods. That's easier for me than this method. So see, this is much bigger than the ball I have formed. So I'll be using the next method, which is first I will remove some of the compost from the top to expose a little bit of the root, the base of the plant. Now I will re-soak the soil and shape the substrate around the root to form a ball. I'm just loosening up the roots so that the roots have chance to go around this substrate or the soil or the compost I have placed around the root. So see, I'm shaping it with the wet soil, so it is very very wet, into a ball. Make sure all of the root of the plant is covered, and as you're doing it, I'm squeezing it into a ball shape at the same time as extracting the liquid from the ball. Next, we have to cover it with some kind of moss. The whole purpose of covering your ball of soil is to hold it in place. This is sphagnum moss. If you have access to live moss, you can use live moss. You can, even if you're using sphagnum moss, I can still add live moss on top of the sphagnum moss. So I'm covering all of the substrate with the sphagnum moss, and then I'll hold the sphagnum moss in place using strings. The sphagnum moss is secure, but yet I'll still give it one more round around the base of the plant and then tie it tightly off. If I want, I can hang it like this as well. It will look equally beautiful. Just for safety, let's do a tiny bit more. One more round. Now let's use the scissors and cut off the excess sphagnum moss that's around. So make sure the base of the plant is very neat. I'm going to cut off these excess ones so that the base of the plant is visible. Because my kokedama is not hung, I want it to have a flat base so that it can sit on the saucer without tipping over. So on my saucer, some gravel, and then I will put my kokedama on top. Just make a little bit of dip in the gravel so that the ball can sit easily. So there you go, my final product, a China doll plant kokedama. The care for kokedama plant, China doll plant is very easy. Mist it regularly, give it some sort of light. So here I've provided light through a lamp, and also make sure the ball is wet enough. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you soon with another one.